Today, Donald Trump once again created another unbelievable moment in political history. And this time, it happened right on the stage of a ceremony that should have been solemn and meaningful for peace. While FIFA awarded him a brand new prize called the FIFA Peace Prize, a prize that the organization itself hastily created last month, Trump dozed off. We're talking about a US president standing on an international stage, amid the spotlights and millions of viewers, nodding off while receiving a peace prize from a soccer organization, not the Nobel Committee, not the United Nations, but FIFA. The absurdity here isn't just in the moment his eyes drooped, it's in the fact that the entire event seems to have been set up just to honor him, even though no one outside of FIFA's leadership understands why such a prize needs to exist. News from the hall indicates that FIFA officials were surprised by Infantino himself when he arbitrarily announced the prize, while Trump stood there receiving the trophy and looking like he was about to fall asleep right on stage. This isn't just a funny moment on social media. We're seeing one of the most blatant examples of how power can bend international institutions, turning a global sports event into a stage to serve a leader's image. A peace prize created hastily, lacking transparency, awarded to exactly one person, and in that very moment, that person nearly sinks into sleep. And what's behind this trophy is even stranger and more worrisome. Let me tell you what's really going on. And here's what makes the whole thing much more noteworthy. The prize that Trump received today, the FIFA Peace Prize that he nearly dozed off while holding in his hand, was actually just created in November, right at the time when he wasn't awarded the Nobel Peace Prize that he'd been lobbying hard for over many months. That is, just a few weeks after the Nobel Committee refused to give him the title he desired. FIFA immediately announced a completely new type of prize, with no history, no rules, no nomination process, no selection committee, and most importantly, no evidence whatsoever that it was created for any purpose other than to award it to Donald Trump. Human Rights Watch sent a request for an explanation about the award process, the criteria, the list of people considered, and FIFA didn't respond. Not a vague response, not a delayed response, but no response at all, not a single word. And that, in the world of international diplomacy, always carries a very clear message: we don't have any answer that can withstand the light. If you've followed FIFA long enough, you'll know they're no stranger to backroom power deals. But what's going on between Gianni Infantino and Donald Trump goes far beyond a bit of ordinary political flattery. It has the familiar characteristics of those prestige trade deals that have appeared in many international institutions. One side wants support from the US government, the other wants a stage to bolster their image. Infantino knows very well that the 2026 World Cup, the first time it's being held in the US, Canada, and Mexico simultaneously, depends heavily on support from Washington. From security issues, entry visas, media, to temporary agreements between the three governments, the US holds a key role. And at the current moment, the person holding the key is none other than Donald Trump. That's why Infantino keeps appearing next to Trump, praising him as the man who created peace in Gaza, or saying that he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize, not just harmless pleasantries. Those are signals. Signals that FIFA wants to ensure everything goes smoothly in the US, that they want the US president to feel honored, elevated, seen as the central figure in the planet's biggest soccer festival. And in return, Infantino gets what every FIFA president craves: a World Cup that proceeds as planned, favored by the US, with no political or legal obstacles. That's why this prize, despite being called a peace prize, has nothing to do with peace. It's not recognizing diplomatic achievements, not evaluating conflict solutions, not part of any international initiative. This is a tool, a diplomatic gift, a power exchange signal, a stage prop. And what concerns me isn't that FIFA is pandering to Trump, but that a major international organization is willing to create a prize out of thin air, completely lacking transparency, just to appease a president who can bring them benefits. Look at how Infantino has talked about Trump in recent months. He describes Trump as the one who brought hostile parties to the negotiating table, the one who laid the foundation for peace in Gaza, the one who proved the role of soccer in uniting the world. Does that sound familiar? It sounds like sycophantic speeches aimed at building relationships rather than honest descriptions of reality. And that makes today's FIFA Peace Prize not just a trophy. It's evidence of a bigger story, how international organizations are willing to adjust their values, even create new rituals, as long as they serve the right person who's in power in Washington. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We have to look deeper into what FIFA is trying to achieve and why they're willing to trade their honor to do it. And to see more clearly the level of staging in this entire affair, we have to look at the stage where everything took place, the Kennedy Center. A space that was once seen as separate from partisan politics, where art and culture were protected from power manipulation, has now been turned into a MAGA stage in the literal sense. From the moment Trump took over as chairman of the board, those who once maintained the Kennedy Center's neutrality have been removed, making way for a new model where international events are adjusted to fit the president's political interests. And no one embodies this model more clearly than Andrew Giuliani, yes, the son of Rudy Giuliani, who heads the White House FIFA World Cup Task Force. It was Giuliani who directed today's program, and he didn't hide his desire to stamp MAGA on the entire event. He called it quite bluntly, the MAGA FIFA World Cup draw. That name wasn't a slip of the tongue. It was a message, a declaration that this ceremony belongs to Trump and will serve Trump's narrative. And when you look at the guest list, everything becomes clearer. Tom Brady, Wayne Gretzky, Shaquille O'Neal, legends so big that just standing next to Trump gives him a kind of borrowed prestige. But note, all three are American sports icons more than international ones. They're not directly related to soccer, but they relate to the image Trump wants the world to see. America strong, America great, America leading. Then there's the Village People. Yes, the band that performs YMCA, the song that's become almost the theme song at Trump's rallies. Having them on the FIFA World Cup draw stage isn't an entertainment choice, it's an affirmation. This is my home turf. And Andrea Bocelli, the famous opera singer who once performed at Mar-a-Lago at Trump's invitation. Once again, this isn't random coincidence. These are coded signals sent to the whole world. This international sports event is being redefined to fit Trump's power. The atmosphere in the hall further reinforces that. When the guests came out, the crowd didn't react like an audience at a World Cup draw. They reacted like an audience at a rally. The cheers, rhythmic clapping, moments of standing up in unison, all bear the mark of a political rally. If there weren't a FIFA logo in the background, it'd be hard to tell if this was a sports event or the president's re-election rally. And then Trump steps out. He stands in the middle of the stage, under the lights like a Broadway show, receiving the trophy that FIFA created just for him. And in the moment when he should have been talking about peace, about international cooperation, about the unity of the 2026 World Cup, Trump instead says, "America is the hottest country anywhere in the world. America is the hottest country." A statement so off base it's almost surreal, because you have to remember, this is a Peace Prize ceremony, not a fashion award, not a new nightclub launch. This is an international event where the leader of a nation is honored for contributions to peace. Yet he chooses to talk about how hot America is, and the crowd applauds as if he just presented a groundbreaking political doctrine. What concerns me isn't that statement, but the reaction to it, the excitement, the synchronization, and the sense that everyone understands the play being performed. But no one stops to ask, hold on, does this still have anything to do with peace or the World Cup? Because when an international ceremony is turned into a rally, and when political signals are built so cleverly that the world sees it as the new normal, then we're not just witnessing the change of an event, we're witnessing the change in how power operates on the global stage. And today's ceremony at the Kennedy Center isn't the first time. It's just the clearest sign that an international organization like FIFA is willing to bend every principle, including their own non-political principle, to serve Donald Trump's image and interests. To understand the full power game being played, we have to look beyond the Kennedy Center spotlights and see the actual policies running parallel to that ceremony, policies that, if you're FIFA, you absolutely have to factor in when deciding to hand a peace prize to someone like Donald Trump. Because while Trump was up there saying America is the hottest country, the reality is that the United States under his administration is tightening its borders in a way never before seen for a country about to host a World Cup. The current travel ban affects 19 countries, and according to State Department sources, that number could easily grow. What does that mean? It means that if Iran, for example, advances past the group stage into the knockouts, their fans will have to watch from home, because they won't be allowed entry. If Haiti, yes, Haiti, pulls off a miracle, their supporters won't be able to witness history in person either. FIFA is giving a peace prize to the very person erecting the biggest barriers in modern soccer history to global soccer fans. Hard to imagine, right? A prize for uniting the world handed to a president who is separating the world from America from the world. And to deal with that, the State Department announced something called the FIFA Pass. Sounds impressive, doesn't it? Sounds like a special fast track, a quick process for ticket-holding fans. But when you look closely, the FIFA Pass is essentially a temporary visa mechanism that no one, not even the diplomats trying to explain it, can describe clearly. It doesn't relax the travel ban, it doesn't guarantee entry, it has no transparent process. It's just a name meant to reassure FIFA while the administration expands the no-entry list. And that very vagueness is what makes everything dangerous. A World Cup isn't just 90 minutes of soccer. It's a chain of economic, diplomatic, tourism, and commercial events. It's a chance for the host nation to show its face to the world. And think about the face America is showing right now, a country restricting millions of fans while standing on stage to receive a peace prize from FIFA. That is paradox in its purest form. From an economic standpoint, the consequences could be stark: plummeting tourist numbers, massive revenue losses, host cities like Los Angeles, Dallas, New York, Miami, all counting on international fans to hit the projected billions in revenue. If half the world can't get in, the 2026 World Cup could become the tournament with the lowest international attendance in decades. But the impact isn't just financial. It's in the story America tells the world. A World Cup is supposed to be a symbol of openness, cultural exchange, and international spirit. Under the travel ban, it will become a fragmented World Cup, where only chosen nations get to attend. That weakens America's diplomatic image and squanders a rare chance for the US to show it's still the world's crossroads after years of deep political division. And when you put all of this side by side, a complete picture emerges. The Trump administration is using the World Cup as a domestic PR tool. From the guest lineup, the award ceremony, the MAGAization of the Kennedy Center, to the travel ban and visa policy being wielded as political weapons, everything suggests that 2026 isn't just the year of soccer. It will be the year Trump tries to turn the pitch into part of his domestic power consolidation strategy. Because if you can stand under the spotlights, accept a peace prize that FIFA literally invented for you, and simultaneously build entry barriers that keep half the world from attending the tournament, and no one seriously challenges it, you have succeeded in redefining what power means. And as always, the real question isn't why Trump does this. The real question is, why does the world let him? And to understand why FIFA believes giving Trump a peace prize is politically safe, we have to go back to a Washington reality. Donald Trump is, politically speaking, almost untouchable. Remember that in his first term he was impeached twice, once for pressuring Ukraine for political gain, once for inciting the January 6th riot, and both times the Senate acquitted him, despite overwhelming evidence. That was precedent number one. Precedent number two, even more alarming, is the string of impeachment attempts in the current term, all failing in the same pattern, failing not for lack of grounds, but for lack of political will. In April, Rep. Tab from Michigan introduced 7 articles of impeachment against Trump, accusing him of abuse of power, constitutional violations, obstruction of justice, and acting like an authoritarian leader. But when the resolution hit the House floor, only 79 Democrats voted to even open an inquiry. 128 in her own party voted against it, fearing another impeachment process would divide the party or hurt them in the midterms. Meaning even those who recognized the danger of unchecked power stepped back for political calculation. In June, Rep. Al Green from Texas tried again. He accused Trump of violating the War Powers Clause by ordering strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities without congressional approval, an action many legal experts called illegal and reckless, given the already unstable Middle East. But the result was even worse: 344 votes to table the resolution, only 79 to move forward. Democrats split, Republicans completely unified in protection mode, and the Republican-controlled Senate has never been a place where any impeachment trial would actually happen. That leads to the crucial question we have to ask ourselves: how does a president behave when he believes he cannot be charged, cannot be checked, and cannot be stopped? The answer is right in front of us, lit up by the Kennedy Center lights. He stands on an international sports stage, accepts a prize, a global organization invented for its own interests, and he dozes off. He dozes off not just from tiredness or boredom. He dozes off because he can. Because he believes no one can touch him. No one will question him. No one will force him to meet the standards of a world leader. When there is no check, the person in power redefines everything from truth to law to now peace itself. And that is what makes the FIFA Peace Prize a far more dangerous symbol than it appears. An American president exists in a state where even the gravest misconduct does not trigger congressional punishment. Republicans have locked down both the House and Senate. They ensure no impeachment effort succeeds, no matter how clear the evidence. Democrats are split between those who want to defend institutions and those who fear strong action will cost them votes in swing districts. Congress is paralyzed by political calculus. And while the two parties wrestle, the only winner is Donald Trump. Look at Trump's reaction to the failed impeachments. He mocked Democrats on Truth Social, saying they had just hit the lowest approval rating in congressional history, then taunted them. "Go ahead, impeach me again. You're making my day." A president who talks like that isn't someone who feels threatened. That's someone who knows he's untouchable. And that's exactly what FIFA is betting on when they hand him a custom-made peace prize. Trump's political invulnerability in the American system. They believe standing next to him brings benefits. They believe there's no risk. And right now, they're probably right. When power has no restraint, the strongest player gets to redefine concepts that should belong to the international community. Peace, democracy, accountability. Trump stands on stage and accepts an award he in no way deserves because he lives in a system where deserving it is no longer a prerequisite. And when a president knows he cannot be held accountable, he won't just redefine peace. He will redefine the very meaning of power, and organizations like FIFA, instead of pushing back, are actively helping him build this new version of power. What makes this whole story even more alarming is the American public's reaction. Because if you look at how society received the moment Trump accepted a peace prize and then dozed off, you see a polarization so extreme it's almost two separate realities. To Trump's base, this isn't a joke or a clumsy political theater. To them, it's victory over the global elite, over the media, over international organizations they believe have always looked down on America. To them, FIFA giving Trump a peace prize is proof the world finally admitting what they've believed all along. Trump is the peacemaker, no matter what he's actually done. They see this award as the international recognition the mainstream media deliberately denied him. But to the rest of the country, that image, a president dozing off while accepting a prize invented just for him, is the symbol of blatant abuse of power and propaganda. They see a global sports organization bending its ethics to please the US government. They see a president using international events as props for his political campaign. They see a world where democratic norms have eroded so far that the most absurd things can happen without the system even shaking. And here's the crucial point we have to say out loud. When the absurd is repeated long enough, it becomes normal. When you keep seeing Trump take over international events, hijack the podium, turn award ceremonies into rallies, and international organizations keep going along with it, eventually you stop asking questions. You stop being surprised. You start accepting that this is just how things work now. That is when power penetrates deepest. And if you think this FIFA Peace Prize ceremony was just a one-off spectacle, wait until 2026. Because the coming World Cup isn't just the planet's biggest soccer tournament, it will be the perfect stage for Trump, a leader who understands the power of imagery, of presence, of owning the spotlight. Imagine the opening ceremony, Trump center field, addressing millions worldwide, key matches, him in the VIP box, the trophy presentation, him finding a way into the champion's photo, just like he inserted himself into Chelsea's Club World Cup celebration. The 2026 World Cup risks becoming a non-stop, free global media campaign for Trump. And when you combine that with the travel ban, restricted visas, and FIFA's motives, a disturbing scenario emerges: a global sports festival turned into a domestic political tool where the unselected people are excluded from the game. And America no longer plays the neutral host, but a nation staging everything for one man's benefit. That could trigger real diplomatic tensions. If fans from Iran, Haiti, Sudan, Yemen cannot enter the US to watch their teams. Those governments will certainly react. There could be calls for boycotts, lawsuits, demands that FIFA intervene, and if Infantino keeps favoring Trump, it could pit FIFA itself against its own members. In a world where politics has already seeped into everything, the 2026 World Cup risks becoming the epicenter of a clash between populism, nationalism, and international values. And that is what we really need to watch. Because the Kennedy Center event wasn't the beginning, and it won't be the end. It's just one link in a larger pattern. The pattern where international institutions, instead of holding firm to principles, gradually bow to whoever is strongest in the room. If that continues, it won't just be soccer, it won't just be American politics, the price will be paid by global democracy itself. Here is the most important truth we have to face in this entire story. Trump dozing off on stage while accepting a peace prize is not the scariest part. It's funny, it becomes a meme, it blows up social media, but it's not the core issue. The truly frightening thing is that FIFA, a massive international organization, created a brand new prize with no transparency, no process, no criteria, and handed it to an American president in a context where every political motive is glaringly obvious. That wasn't a ceremony honoring peace. That was a signal that international institutions, built on principles of objectivity and independence, are being bent to the will of the most powerful. And when that bending happens in the open, under TV lights, in front of millions, with no strong pushback from political leaders or global bodies, what we're witnessing is not an isolated incident. It is a sign of the quiet erosion of democratic norms, an erosion that happens gradually, without the noise of a coup, but no less destructive. Because this is how democracy weakens, not by institutions collapsing overnight, but by the absurd gradually becoming the new normal. When a president is awarded a peace prize with no discernible contribution to international peace, and we get used to it. When an organization like FIFA allows itself to invent awards to serve one powerful leader's political interests, and we're no longer shocked. When international ceremonies are turned into personal stages, and we start accepting that this is just how the world works now. When the absurd is repeated long enough, it becomes normal. And when the absurd becomes normal, democracy begins to die, not because someone declares it over, but because we stop resisting the deviation. We stop asking questions. We stop treating abuse of power as a problem. And then one day we look back and realize that the things that once formed this nation's foundation, transparency, truth, accountability, have been replaced by empty rituals, staged ceremonies, meaningless titles whose only purpose is to reinforce power for whoever already holds it. So the real question isn't, why did Trump fall asleep? The real question is, why did the world allow this event to unfold the way it did? Why do we accept that international organizations can bow this low? Why have we stopped pushing back against the plainly absurd? And the sad answer lies partly in each of us. A democracy cannot survive if the people living in it abandon their responsibility. If we stay silent when power is abused, if we sit out elections thinking one vote doesn't matter, if we let propaganda repeat until we can no longer tell truth from theater. A democracy is only as strong as its citizens decide that truth still matters, that accountability still matters, that the absurd cannot be allowed to become the rule. You have a role in this story. You have the power to keep things like the FIFA Peace Prize from becoming the new standard for how the world operates. You have the ability to say no to propaganda, to empty spectacle, to any attempt to make power untouchable. It starts with not staying silent, with asking questions, with refusing to accept the surface of staged events, with recognizing that your vote doesn't just choose a leader, it decides what kind of country you want to live in. A country where institutions bow to power, or a country where power bows to institutions. And before we wrap up tonight, I want to say this sincerely: thank you. Thank you for listening, for caring, for refusing to let things that happen in the dark keep happening unnamed. It's easy to feel exhausted in times like these. It's easy to think everything is already out of control, but you're still here. You still want to understand. You still believe truth matters, and that small but stubborn belief is what keeps this democracy alive. So take care of yourself. Stay awake to the absurd that is being normalized day by day. Keep watching. keep questioning, keep speaking up, and if you want to keep getting straightforward analysis that cuts through the propaganda, remember to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one. There's still a lot we need to unpack together.